Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Steve.
Howdy doody, everybody.
Howdy doody. And Mike is here.
Yeah, Mike is here.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Nick is in Seattle, I'm hoping he's enjoying his time at PAX West. Gal is out of town. I mean, this is a holiday weekend, so I guess a lot of people are out.
And I have company.
And you have company, but you made an effort to be here.
Not only did I make an effort to be here, I actually did make it here.
You didn't make it. Correct. I stand corrected.
And I'm like a bad penny. I just always show up.
Well, we're glad you do.
Well, I'm glad I have been in this since last month. It's been nice to get back.
Well, the pleasure is all ours.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Yes, it is, Steve. So,
I don't have a lot of news topics this week, although I have read several. None springs. My brain is getting more and more like a sieve as I get older, and it's really starting to worry me. Because you start reading a story, Amnon, and I think, hang on, I read that, and then all of a sudden it comes back to me. But do you think I could remember to talk about it? No.
Well, as we get older, we tend to blame that on age relations. But the fact is that a lot of that crap, we just aren't that interested in it and don't internalize it as we read it the first time.
True.
So what do you have, Steve, that you remember reading after you heard the story and you read about it and you wanted to discuss it? Anything that you remember?
I can't remember anything. There's loads of stories this week. I mean, there's been a lot of interesting stuff coming through on Engadget and other sites that I subscribe to the RSS feeds. But anything that jumps out at me and goes, "Oh, you must talk about that." No, but I dare say you'll come up with 2 or 3 that oh yeah, I remember that.
This is actually something I've been thinking about. There really is there that much computer news going on? I mean, what are you going to talk about? You're going to talk about hacking. We used to talk about antivirus software and all sorts of things. These issues are kind of resolved and settled right now. I'm not sure if we've run our course here.
It's things are just coming back again and again and again. Let's see who's this calling in. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's Alfredo.
Hey, Alfredo.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm doing great. I just wanted to make a comment about the remembering things.
No, you can't make any comments. Sorry.
No, I can't.
Like what?
Oh, and I tend to forget things too. I'm 40 years old, and what I do to try to remember is I have to write things down now.
Listen to the kid.
40.
Steve, listen to the
That's
kid.
40, yeah. Yeah, I'm 40, kid. I'm 40. and I
Well,
forget things already.
I'll tell you though, I'm 64, and I'll tell you that I'd say probably 10 years ago, I started becoming concerned. Wait a minute, why am I forgetting things? I just forgot. I forgot it. I made a conscious effort to improve my memory back then. Did nothing but make up my mind to do it. I will tell you that, of course, everybody still forgets things, and me as well. And do I forget more things now than when I was under 40? Probably. But I will tell you that I've got a pretty good recall of things that I need to do in terms of a list of things to do. And the way you do that is somebody said, a friend of mine said to me, not a friend, a colleague said to me back in 98, he said, you can't remember what you never knew. And
Mm-hmm.
how that translates into remembering things is that when somebody says, Amnon, you need to make sure that you flush the toilet. Uh, if there's no external motivation for doing so, then you hear that and it goes in one ear and out the other. But you say, okay, I've got to remember to go flush the toilet. Okay, I've got to remember to do that. That firmly puts it into your brain, and you'll be amazed at how often that alone causes you to be able to recall what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of times you are doing something and say, "Oh, I also have to do that," and that was
People,
the one time, and you
yeah.
forget,
Well,
guaranteed.
when people say, I'm terrible at meeting someone and remembering their names,
Yeah.
you've heard that. You know why?
Oh, yeah. No, no, I don't know why.
You didn't hear them say their name. You thought you'd asked the name, Sally. Okay. I'm sorry. What was your name again? And so that's why there's so many tricks for my name is Salvador. I'm sorry. Your name is what? It's Salvador. Okay. How do you spell that Salvador? Repeat it back. Get it into your brain. You got to put it in there.
File it.
Exactly. You got to
Yeah.
get it into the folder or it won't be
Yeah.
able to be taken out.
So,
Having
Alfredo, you're not by yourself.
Oh, okay. So, not remembering things is normal as we age, right? Because I'm already forgetting at 40, and I'm going, I'm as young. I feel young, but I forget stuff still.
I'm sorry, who is this on the phone?
Oh, it's Alfredo.
Having a pen and paper is definitely worth it. Just keep a notebook in your pocket with a pencil, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Unless you forget where you put the notebook.
Well, no, it's always in your pocket.
Yeah, but what if it's not?
Well, then you've got to go out and buy another one.
Okay, but then you lost everything in the first one. You can't
Yeah.
win this one, Steve.
You can't win. So, Alfredo,
Here's how I
Yes.
keep up with stuff I have to do. Everything's written in these notebooks.
not in your brain.
Well, it's in my brain as well, but I can't trust that.
Oh,
I only write down the important stuff.
Alfredo,
Yes.
what's new in church streaming?
It's still the same setup. You know, we're still struggling with low bandwidth. I finally figured out why it stopped, continuing to stop streaming. I have to actually reset the bridge point, which is a bad idea. I've been trying to get a wired connection to my streaming computer, but it's about 30 feet away from the router. I think it's 30 feet. And just getting it there is a struggle. I mean, it's not that hard to get a wire, but running it along the walls, the corners, crimping that's what takes the longest. Is making sure that the wires are not visibly seen. So, I mean, I could just say, you know what? Let me do this. We don't want to hire anybody. I can do it myself. But of course, making sure wiring is hidden is, to me, it's a difficult task because I've never done it before. So
Yeah. Huh? You just keep at it. Keep at it. It seems like there's a lot of. I mean, I don't pay much attention to it, but it seems like there's a lot of new things happening in church streaming. The last 2 weeks ago on Tom Sinclair's show. I mean, it's just I'm saying, wow. Excuse me. What? Just this actually makes people. To me, it seems like makes people say, you know what? can just stay home and watch the service. But they're saying no. It's actually gets people to come in, so it's nice.
Yeah, yeah. The live streaming portion is more of a calling card to come visit. We've had visitors come in because they saw us streaming,
Right.
and they were like, "Yeah, it's an advertising slash calling card for the church." So, some churches don't actually stream their services because they don't have members that either don't know how or not sure if they have the resources to do it. But if you don't have the full on computer mixer board setup, they can start streaming from a phone because
Yeah.
phones now these days are powerful enough, and
Yeah.
it won't be the same. It won't be the same quality. It's just they just have to start somewhere.
But you have to absolutely you have to start somewhere. And the hardware and the software that's available now makes it so much easier for people that are not highly technical to do that too.
Right.
So yeah. All right, man.
And
Right.
later today after my church streaming, I'm gonna teach someone else how to set up their computer to stream.
Very
So,
good.
yeah, it's a very busy day for me this Sunday. But thank you for having me.
Sure, Alfredo. Take it
Okay,
easy.
you too.
Have a good one.
Bye.
919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And let's see. Let's go back to Steve here. Steve.
Hello.
Hi.
Was
Hi.
that enough?
Mike didn't like being on camera all the time.
No,
So
I don't like being on camera all the time. Whenever I
you
do,
never are.
but
Are
I
you?
never. I was on once, if you remember, back when I first got the tablet, and you were like, "Wow, you look like a typical English gentleman." Was your comment, and I thought,
I
well,
don't
that was very
remember that.
polite. You don't remember? Well, that's good because you got that horrific image out of your mind.
What, the English person?
Yeah, the me on the
Very
camera is a
distinguished
scary
anyway.
lady. You can look at a picture of my dog instead. She's gorgeous.
She is. Let's see. Is Mike back? Because there was something here that
He's not yet.
not.
Oh, no,
Okay,
he
there
is.
he is. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
There was a story here that I was reading. I said, "Yep, this is something that Mike will be able to make comment about." So, the United States. Oh wait, no, that's not. Wait. Oh, no.
It's the other one.
It's the other one. I know. Oh, here it is. Gil Hyatt has gotten many rewards from his days as an inventor. In 1990, he received a fundamental but controversial patent on what he called the first microprocessor, or computer on a chip. It was 22 years late, but he nosed out rivals such as Intel in being the first to file for a patent application in 1968. He then licensed that patent and 22 of his 69 other patents to Philips Electronics, which then began enforcing them on the rest of the electronics industry and collecting royalties. Philips, that's not Mike, efforts netted Hyatt more than $150 million through the state of California, though the state of California would try for 24 years to take a big chunk of that money for taxes. It argued that Hyatt pretended to move to Las Vegas in 91, but in 2017, he finally prevailed in convincing the tax board that he really did move. But at 80 years old, Hyatt still isn't resting on the rewards he got. In fact, he's still a bit in a bitter battle with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. He claims the office is sitting on his remaining applications and is waiting for him to die. He sued to get the patent office to issue his remaining patent applications. The patent office declined to comment, citing the litigation. So, Mike, what happens if somebody files and then he dies? Does he lose it? Does his heirs lose everything?
No, patent has nothing to do with whether the inventor is alive or even the owner. It passes it's personal property. What happens to your house if you die? And the house is not a good example. What happens to your car if you die?
Whoever survives me gets it as long as
Same
there's
story.
yeah. Okay. So so the claim the patent office is sitting on it waiting for him to die is really not. I mean, it's a feeling, but it's not.
Well,
Legally it doesn't make any change. But this way they
yeah.
don't have to deal with him.
If he's got to be available to testify to certain events and he's not available, then that weakens his case dramatically.
Oh. Hmm.
His wife probably wouldn't be able to go in and say what date he went into the lab and developed certain technology and what alternate technologies he avoided through it and so forth. I mean, it would be her opinion would be worthless, even though she would be theoretically or probably the rightful owner or his children or whoever his heirs are.
It's interesting to just string somebody along if that's true. I
And
mean,
of course, not passing the patents and they're just sitting there on the shelf. He's not going to be able to claim any monetary value for them, is he? From companies that are using the patents.
Well, it depends. I mean, patents are defined by claims. I mean, who just say we got a patent on a microprocessor is nonsense. It would only be certain types of microprocessors that handle things in a certain way. And if they're still being used, and then that's fine. And I mean, it gets really convoluted. The average patent lawsuit costs $5 million just to litigate it. I mean, he's got the money. He's probably got nothing to lose by doing it. But for a lot of these guys, after they get the big money, the patent becomes more about ego than it is about the money. He wants his family to be able to claim, "Hey, our dad invented the microprocessor."
Well, I mean, this he doesn't have any problems with because he got the patent and Phillips is still raking it in, and he's probably still making money from it.
Well,
But
it's
it,
not always the way you think it is.
well, another interesting story here is, and it seems like an excuse there in a way. The rising cost of living in Silicon Valley is pushing startups out and refocusing innovation in new cities around the country. Um, I thought they're making so much money. There's no such thing as it's too
It
expensive.
depends on the startup. All you read about are these glowingly successful ones. You don't read about the
Yeah.
ones trip and fall immediately, which is about 95%.
It says more Americans are leaving the valley than moving in. Move
Why
it to
wouldn't you?
it.
Why wouldn't you? Who could want to? I
No?
mean, the only reason they move there is for the weather and the earthquakes.
Yeah. In 2017, several counties in the area saw their largest combined domestic outward migration in around a decade. In a recent survey by the Bay Area Council, a think tank, 46% of Bay Area residents, 46, said they plan to leave in the next few years, up from 34% in 2016. It's not just a case of people of more modest means being pushed out by carpet bagging techies. At this year's Foo Camp, a freewheeling annual gathering of hackers and others, a session called Should I/you leave the Bay Area? So a strong turnout. Participants shared their gripes about the high cost of living, bad traffic, and a toxic culture obsessed with money.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, that's if you're conservative out there,
Yep.
you're in Armageddon. You're in the
Right.
middle of it.
Right. I
And
mean,
so all 4 of those people are probably gonna leave.
that's what I said. They were keeping they were keeping the politics out of it, but it has a lot to do with politics.
Well, I know, man, when you think about the politics of it, it's so uber left wing out there, and yet that's where all the money is. I thought they were the People's Party.
Well, the money is leaving, it seems like.
Well, what about the homeless? How much money could that do to solve the
Yeah.
homeless
Oh,
problem?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And why they got people out in San Francisco defecating on the streets because the city can't even provide them with a bathroom.
Yeah. But now, here's something we can discuss.
I got something here that
Oh,
happened this week. I've got a T420S Lenovo laptop i7. I started using it. I don't use it very often. I started using it for a streaming project, and the thing would last about 10 minutes on the battery. I ordered a new battery, paid $40 for it, wanted, wanted to get a better one. I thought I'd get it here and plug it in, and Nick and I set it up to use OBS. It is dog slow on the new battery, even. And finally, the battery dies after about 30 minutes. So I've charged it now for 2 days. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if it doesn't. What obviously had happened is that it had throttled itself because it sensed a rapidly discharging battery. When we plugged the power supply back in, it seemed to be back to normal. So that will be an interesting test this week.
so are you saying even when when the machine is plugged in and charging, the battery is actually discharging? Or
No, no. All I'm saying,
okay,
we tried it on the battery without it being plugged in because the charger was in the other room. And when it finally died, I had to go get the charger and then try charging it. So it's going to be interesting to see if I've got a bum battery.
and when you took the power out of it, it said that the battery was 100%.
Yeah, the first time we had charged it, yes.
Okay.
But it had not charged 8 hours or whatever they say
Yeah.
always say to it start with. So we'll see. It may even be that the computer had to reset itself when it got to full charge or something. I don't know. We had another interesting thing happen this week. Nick came through here because he flew out of RDU to Seattle for PAX. He stayed with us overnight so he could be at the airport at 5:30 the next morning. But the Wednesday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night, whatever night it was, that I loaned him my Canon HFG 30 camera to do video out there. Well, he told me from Wilmington right before he came up here. He said the camera's not charging. I said, well, it ought to be charging. It's brand new. It's been used a grand total of about 4 hours in the 5 years I've had it. So he gets it up here and plug the charger in. Sure enough, it's not charging. The flasher on the charger says the camera says it's not charging. Well, oh, let me back up. He first we did some testing on the wall wart and it was dead. The one that I've had that came with the camera was dead. We decided that night to to order one for next day delivery, same day delivery, whatever. So we ordered it about 9 o'clock at night, and it was here at noon the next day, and that's the day Nick was coming up. He gets here, he takes the charger, plugs it into the camera. Same thing. The camera lights up and works, which it was not doing before with the other charger. But now the batteries won't charge. Nick then decides that we need to get new batteries. So we go online. We're going to get batteries delivered to Seattle to a locker out there. Not one battery on Amazon available for next day delivery or same day delivery that would fit the camera. Now we've got a situation. Does he take the sorry, does he take the camera or what? I gotta clear my throat. Hold on a second. So, um, what we decide to do is he does some research and he finds out that these batteries are quote unquote intelligent batteries. And that is they decide when they're bad without regard for whether the cells are bad. One of these batteries is an aftermarket extra capacity, and the other was the one that came with the camera. He takes a flying leap and decides he finds a USB charger that will directly charge the battery and ignore the intelligent part of the charging. He has it overnighted or delivered same day to the locker in Seattle. It gets there and he sends me a text the next day say it's working fine. So those batteries are bad. Well, it could maybe there's something wrong with the charger and the camera, but at least I don't have to throw this $1,500 camera in a trash can.
And the it'll be interesting to know if after he charged them up, because I was reading a lot about it, and some people were saying that if they're completely depleted, the charger will do exactly it. It will flash fast.
Yeah, but they were not completely depleted. They were maintained fairly consistently. I would plug it in every month or two.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he tried to charge it through the camera after they were charged on the external
I don't know. I mean, he's
charger.
busy,
That would
so
be
he wastes
interesting
a lot
to
of
know.
time on it, but
Yeah,
I'll just get a new battery for it.
I I don't know. I always charge them on an external. When he said that he got another charger, I was thinking, he got another charger, external charger.
He did.
I
With the
thought he
plug on it that plugs into the camera, but it would
No,
not charge the
right.
batteries.
No, I'm talking about like a cradle that you
I
put
don't
the
know what it
battery
was.
in.
It may have just been some sort of cable. It wasn't
Yeah.
but $7.
Yeah, it was a regular brick with the connector at the end that you plug into the battery, and you have to put the battery on the camera to get charged.
$5 to deliver it.
Yeah.
What a deal.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that he got that sorted out, because he was stressing over it.
Yeah, but he could have done they could have used their phones and the quality would have been as
Yeah.
good or better.
Yeah.
Sean took his external recorder, so all they had to do later would be to sync the audio to the video with the phone and they're good to go.
Well, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they're having fun.
It's the first time Nick's been to the West Coast.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, he said it was.
Didn't they went to another something was it Vegas? Did he go to Vegas? Yeah, he went to Vegas and he was talking about.
Yeah, he went to Vegas with Johnny.
Okay. I guess that's not the coast.
Amnon.
Yeah.
Vegas is not on the West Coast.
Yeah. Well,
Yet.
it's the west of.
It's not on the West Coast yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say again, Steve.
Give global warming another chance. It won't be long.
And the earthquakes.
Oh boy. All right. Listen to this. Air pollution causes a huge reduction in intelligence, according to new research,
I saw
indicating
this story and I believe it to be 100% true because look at LA and New York. Now go ahead.
No, that's the thing. It's indicating that the damage to society of toxic air is far deeper than the well-known impacts on physical health. It's again, I was reading this and I said, yeah, really? Reduction in intelligence, and that has nothing to do with our universities? Or maybe all these professors are coming from areas with high pollution, so they're lower intelligence, so they are teaching the kids lower levels of whatever. I don't know, but this is amazing. They're talking about barrier reefs and the food that's drying out and all that, and now intelligence. And of course, who's going to argue with them?
No, air pollution is corrosive. It's nasty. I
Yeah,
mean, only Republicans want dirty air and dirty water, but
Right.
everybody else, nobody wants dirty air and dirty water.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean,
I'm a Republican. I
Republicans
go see a
love
dirty
that.
creek. I go drink out of that creek to make sure I get dirty water.
Yep.
Everybody do that? Anyone who's listening
Okay.
thinks that I'm serious, you have a problem.
Yeah. That was this is entertainment to me. I mean, to read something like this.
But by the way, I don't doubt the veracity of that story. The
I
crap
well,
that's in the air and the water, from the industrial age forward, that's bad stuff. It's bad, bad stuff. The question is it do you want to chop off your arm to get rid of a hangnail?
no, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah. Yeah. But I think there's a lot more to it too. It's not a one reason why. Anyway.
Steve, do y'all have any air pollution over there?
Yeah, it's quite bad in the cities. There's no traffic in the center of London unless you pay a big fee. So cities, major problems. Not too bad in and around a smaller town like where I am, but if you go through town, walking like I do with the dog sometimes, the smell of the car fumes is quite pungent at times.
I
There
thought
you
you
go.
guys
And
had fixed all that.
did anybody say that English people are lower intelligence?
Good.
uh,
Brent says he's keeping his straws.
good for him.
Back,
Yeah, the plus two.
back in
Straws.
2000, it was around about the turn of the century, the government was bleating on about how wonderful diesel is and it's going to save the planet. Now they've turned tables and said, "Oh, diesel's a nasty thing. We're going to tax you on your road fund license, and we're going to put the tax right up through the roof. £140 I've got to pay for my. It's 2006.
You have a
Diesel.
diesel?
Yeah. And I bought diesel thinking, well, it's going to get me more miles per gallon. It's supposedly better for the environment. Of course, everyone switched across to diesel. Now the government's saying, oh, no, we made a mistake. Diesel's bad. So we're going to tax you all for it. Thanks.
Diesels are fine.
Well, back what they taught us was, look who's here. Eileen is here. Hello, Eileen.
Eileen.
Hello, Eileen.
Been a long time. Blab.
You start saying when they taught us.
They were teaching us that because people, whenever this environmental hysteria originally started, a lot of people attacked diesel. And so research was done and the determination was made that while diesel smoke looks really bad, the particulates in diesel smoke are much heavier than they are, and it doesn't have all the nasty chemicals, the combustion chemicals that
They put in
gasoline does.
Mm-hmm.
But the particulate matter was so heavy that it actually settled to the ground as dust and dirt. And therefore, it's not stuff that you really inhaled unless you were directly in the stream of it.
You see the smoke and people are getting, oh, look at the smoke. Well,
emissions have improved dramatically since 2000. So, I mean, you look
Yep.
at some of the diesels from back then, they used to kick out really heavy black smoke. But you look at the majority of diesels nowadays, you can't really see what's coming out unless it's a bit of a foggy day. So it's dramatically improved, but not enough for the government. Everyone's got to switch across to petrol now, and we're going to tax you to death.
well, the thing is that it's if you don't see it, then it's okay. That's the way I look at it. I mean, the pollution that's coming out of a tailpipe of a car, a gasoline burning car, in my opinion, is worse. When did you hear about somebody killing themselves, leaving the car running in the garage, a diesel car? I
I
mean,
haven't.
it
They
may
don't know
it may work.
German. Yeah,
Well,
I have heard that it was a petroleum vehicle or a diesel vehicle. I've never heard it's just like they killed themselves from the exhaust.
Well, I mean,
Stupid.
if you have a petroleum, I mean, gasoline running, and you leave it in the car, I mean, people did commit suicide that way.
Mm.
So I don't know, but
Don't do it,
it's
folks. It's not worth it.
no, definitely
how
not
you know?
worth
How do you know, Steve?
it.
Um, well, I wouldn't say I tried it, but the mere thought of it puts me off. I don't like the smell of petrol or diesel. Horrible smell.
Well, you guys remember a group named Boston?
Yes.
More than a feeling, and a thousand other songs. Their extraordinary leader, Brad Delp, committed suicide. He got involved in a bunch of mess that he shouldn't have been involved in. So he went into a bathroom, and I didn't know that this would happen. He went into a bathroom. He got duct tape. He sealed up all of the edges of the bathroom door, or air could not penetrate it. He lit a charcoal grill and laid down on the floor and died from the carbon monoxide.
Wow.
Wow.
Who would have thought a charcoal grill would do that?
Not a
Sheesh.
pleasant way to go.
Yep.
Well, he just went to sleep.
It would put you to sleep. Yeah, that's bad stuff.
And if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, go buy one today. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
They're not that expensive.
Multiple. I mean, yeah, at
just,
least one, but multiple better.
we just added a bathroom right over here. Whenever the inspector came in, he made us put carbon monoxide and smoke detectors in every bedroom, or either outside the hall of every bedroom.
Yep.
I didn't know they could retroactively do that. He would not give us a permit on this bathroom until we added 4 more carbon monoxide detectors. I took one of them down. I didn't like the way it looked.
I'm saying the smell of the diesel likely made the person leave the garage before the carbon monoxide could kill him. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you know, they what gas is it? Propane that they actually put the smell in it.
Natural gas.
Natural gas, so you know that you have a leak.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you smell diesel, then you know you shouldn't be there. Something is wrong. So it's good.
Talking about smells, I hate tobacco with a passion. I don't like, I mean, I feel sorry for people who still smoke. I can't stand to be around it. I will absolutely, walking down the street, I will walk in the street to avoid passing someone who's sitting there blowing their brains out with that mess. My mother died from it. Yes, I'm against it.
Did
But
you ever smoke?
no,
Okay.
no. But then have you ever been into a tobacco warehouse?
No.
It smells fantastic. Just the plant itself is just an amazing smell. But then, boy, that's smoking. I mean, if people who smoke knew how they smelled to people who don't, they wouldn't do it. They might as well not even waste their money on deodorant.
Good point. Very good point. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. So, Mike, are you using Office 365?
Not yet. We're getting ready to switch to it at the office. We do use it through the radio station.
Well, starting October 2nd, Office 365 home users will no longer be restricted to 10 devices across 5 users, and personal subscribers will no longer have a limit of 1 computer and 1 tablet. The catch is that you can only stay signed in on 5 devices at once. That's very interesting. Signed in on 5 devices. Engadget reports that meanwhile, home users can let another person use the productivity suite through their account, with Microsoft bumping up the number of licenses per subscribers from 5 to 6. Each user has access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and OneNote, along with 1 terabyte of individual storage. Microsoft is also integrating home subscriptions with its family service, so you can automatically share your Office 365 plan with people you've set up as family members. Elsewhere, you'll manage your subscription from within your Microsoft account settings from now on. So it's almost sort of like Netflix, when you give somebody else the username password and you say, you can watch, because they have, I think you can have 5. So the same thing with Office 365.
That's quite generous of Microsoft, really, to
There
extend it.
must be a catch somewhere. They don't just do that kind of stuff. They're worried about something.
Mm.
I don't know. I was watching something, and I was noticing something in what I do here with the streaming. When you go to Facebook and you live stream, it has an address. The only thing that changes in there is the address itself. And let's see, Facebook. Wonder if it shows it here. No, here it doesn't show it. But what happens is it's the URL is the same, but there used to be a 16-digit number that is unique to your stream at that moment, or that particular stream. And it was pretty easy, because when I have to go in and plug that number into the frame. So when you see under the video here that says Facebook, um, it it has that number in it. Otherwise, you will see last week's show. And it was easy to do 4444. Well, the other day, about 2 weeks ago, I'm going and 4443. What's going on? I looked again. I took the cursor and no, sure enough. It seems like less people are streaming on Facebook. That's the only thing I can think of. On YouTube, it's made of 11 characters, but it's a mixture of numbers and letters. So you can get gazillions of videos, just like they do with license plates. But on Facebook, it's just numbers. I don't know what happened there. I'm wondering if all the bad publicity that Facebook got because of uh, discriminating people, just it just seems like less people are streaming on Facebook, and that's that. I mean, in a way, that's good. Maybe just the good stuff stays there. In a way, uh, I mean, I'm still planning on it, dropping Facebook altogether. It doesn't do. I mean, we don't get people over there to sit and watch and comment. Uh, it just tells them to come over here. And when they join the other big techies and threw out Alex Jones, which again I say I'm not a big fan, but that showed, hey, it's a problem. And there are other CDNs out there that that work and allow you to do what you want to do. But it's interesting that the numbers dropped. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I see it. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Anything else, guys?
Can't think of anything. I'll have a look on my browser and see if
Okay.
there's anything that pops up.
All right. Um, here's another thing. Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to talk about something else, just call in and we'll switch direction. Adobe ruffled a lot of feathers when they decided to cease selling their standalone products and go subscription only. You used to be able to buy Photoshop or anything of Adobe and just run it on your computer, just like any other program. But they went subscription. While a lot of folks complain, it doesn't seem to have much, if any, of a negative impact on Adobe financially. Most people that most people that use uh, Photoshop, and that's the one that people I guess use the most, of Photoshop, Premiere, are companies that could afford it. People that use it at home occasionally probably just downloaded a version, pirated it, and then actually Adobe made, what was it? I guess the three, Photoshop 3 or 4, made the whole suite available to download so you can use it. But for businesses, they always needed the latest thing. Now, according to Petapixel, Adobe is poised to cease support for older operating systems by depriving those users of upgrades and updates beyond the cutoff date, even though those users are paying customers and have been for years. And the author goes, he says, he's curious if those impacted will upgrade to the more modern OS or simply find an alternative to Adobe software, paid or otherwise. I mean, if you are subscribing and suddenly they tell you, hey, you can't do that, and you need it, you're going to go and buy it because you can still buy and just keep using it. I mean, I know a lot of people that are using Photoshop 4, Photoshop 5, and have no problems whatsoever. Again, companies that are subscribing and are big operations, they also upgrade the OS. So I don't think that would be a problem for them.
I don't like subscriptions myself. I'd sooner pay, you get like to 2018 version, and if you want to, you can go to 2019 version. I just bought a Cronus True Image 2018 3 license. I thought, great. A week later, version 2019's out. Come and upgrade your version. I said, I've only just bought 2018. Now you're telling me to upgrade to 2019. No.
Right.
And looking at the advancements and the features they've added, I thought, well, I'm not going to use those anyway, so forget it. I'll stick with 2018 probably for about 4 years.
Yeah, well, but you see, companies think about it a different way. Like Katie, that does the graphics, her company is subscribing to the new suite. Can't remember what they call it. But when I needed her to update the intro, while she was here, she went ahead and downloaded all the programs on my machine and signed into her account, which she can do. And as long as she's not using it in the office, she can use it somewhere else. She did what she had to do and she signed out. and now everything is fine. And that's a legal way to do it.
Hmm.
And this way, she always have the latest thing. She doesn't have to go to the boss and say, there's a new feature there we need to update. So there are two sides to this, I guess, Steve. It's if you do it professionally, you stay at the forefront and you have all the new stuff.
Yeah, I can see
With
that
me,
if you're in a business environment or a business situation that you can just, as you say, download, install it on that machine, and you've got a license to use it. You can't be in two places at
right,
once.
exactly.
That eventuality being brilliant idea, but for the average home user, no.
And I really don't know, and I'm not familiar with it. I don't know that there is an alternative to Adobe software. I have no idea.
GIMP,
Uh, what? GIMP?
GIMP for Photoshop.
I mean, is it actually full featured that people can use and get support
Yeah,
and all that?
it's
I don't know.
free. It's Photoshop compatible.
Okay.
Layers, everything else you need. It's very good for open source.
So the author is saying, personally, I'm still rocking Windows 7 because, in my opinion, there isn't anything wrong with it. So in the near future, it seems I'm going to have a choice to make: drop my Creative Cloud subscription, upgrade to an OS I absolutely loathe, like Windows 10, or continue paying full price for apps that will cease receiving updates, which was Adobe's whole argument for going with the subscription method in the first place, so folks will always have the latest update software. It'll be interesting also to see the license and see what the license said, that they can they do this. I mean, if I want to continue using uh Windows 7 and they decide, nope, we're not going to give you any more from programming, I mean, I may be able to see this, that it takes a lot of work to support something that's uh, no longer is supported by the manufacturer. But for security updates, I mean, even Windows, you still get updates for, I'm sure, for Windows 8. I know we get them for Windows 7. Uh, I've got the audio the audio only server that I have here running on XP. Every now and then I say, hey, updates are available, but it's not updates for the OS, it's updates for Word, which is installed on it. But the thing is, it's still communicating and they still listen to it. And it's an old uh, Word 97 and they support it. There are updates. So I don't know what Adobe is thinking there, but I guess time will tell when it actually happens.
They will
They,
have to drag me kicking and screaming into a subscription service for software because I'm just not a power user anymore. It's not worth the
Mhm.
money to me, and it's the matter of principle. If you don't want to write a program and sell me a license to it, okay.
Yeah,
I
and
will
it's not,
tell you like
and it's
any
not that you're not willing to pay,
well,
right?
I mean, for what I use, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to me, that's like these forced subscriptions are not unlike Harris Teeter calling you up and say, Amnon, we see that you eat rice. We see that you're eating about a pound of rice a week. So we're going to send you a pound a week. Well, no, wait a minute. I'm diabetic. I don't eat it. I've cut back to once. No, well, it doesn't matter. You're still going to have to buy a pound a week. Now, if you don't want it, you can throw it away. But we've decided you're going to buy a pound a week.
Yeah.
You know, on a different subject, we haven't talked about it in a while. But if anybody, if you take hard drives apart and don't save the magnets out of them, you're missing something.
Oh, yeah.
these magnets that Amnon and I take when we take the regular spinning drives apart, these magnets in these things are absolutely ridiculously strong. They're amazingly strong. They're kind of hard to get out. And I was getting ready to ask Amnon. I had this one sitting here,
Yeah.
and I was trying to figure out how to
So,
get the magnet out of it because they're glued
oh,
to it
yeah. What I do is, if you take a small screwdriver,
and pry them off.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Aren't there some pins on the plate?
There's some pins here that keep you from hitting it
Yeah.
sideways.
So I normally put it right next to it, kind of, and use it for leverage, and pop, and it just pops out. Now
Well,
sometimes they break, but it doesn't
yeah,
matter. They're
yeah. Well, you got 1,000 of them. So anyway, I on this one, I picked this one up. I said, I'm going to see if I can get it off while I'm sitting there fiddling with it. And I looked at it and I noticed that there was a hole directly under the magnet.
Mhm.
I looked more carefully at the hole, which does get harder as you get older, and noticed that it was threaded. And I said, well, I wonder if I've got any screws that'll fit that hole. Because if I do, I can put the screw
Yeah.
into it, tighten it down, push the magnet off. So I got this bag of screws off my desk that every time I get one, I throw it in there. The first one I picked up was perfectly threaded for that hole. I screwed it in and it got real tight, and then I forced it and the magnet popped right off.
Hot dang. I never thought about that.
I didn't either, but I don't think they all have that because these things are all different. But this piece of metal is going in the trash can, and the magnet goes over here. Now I got to see if I've got any more with a hole in them.
Well, one thing you're definitely missing if you don't take magnets out of a hard drive, when you do, is a blood blister. You catch them together. Oh my goodness, does it make you jump?
Yeah, you have to really watch it. If there are two of these magnets next to each other, it will pinch your finger big time.
Right, they'll snap together. I mean,
And
don't think that you can, like with other magnets, you can roll them around your fingers and
yeah,
sort of click them backwards and forwards. You'll end up with them snagging your finger, and it hurts.
and you hear what Mike is doing there, and I mean, this is one on the other. It is just amazing. Yeah,
Incredibly strong.
I mean, these are the best refrigerator magnets.
Oh no, they'll scratch your refrigerator.
No, they won't. Not when you put it on paper. I mean, you can hold.
They would
You,
scratch your refrigerator.
I use them on the refrigerator. Kathy uses them. It doesn't sit on the refrigerator itself. There's
You can
always
hold
paper in
it
between,
well.
but you can put a whole tablet of paper. What do you call them? Like
Yeah, tablet.
quarter-inch paper, and it will hold it secured. What are you trying to do, Mike?
Trying to break this one loose.
Oh, yeah. When you put them together, it is an ordeal to get them separated from each other.
You have to slide them. You can't pull them apart.
Yeah.
Wow,
But
these
yeah,
things are strong.
it's very interesting. If you have an old hard drive, first of all, you shouldn't just throw it away because it's got data on it, whether you know it or not. And you can
Break
always,
it
I
down,
mean,
huh?
yep.
This one didn't
Oh,
have those little dimples on it. So I took the pliers and worked it sideways, and it popped right off because it just got glue on it. Now I can't get the dang thing apart. Look at that. Now these are going to be magnetized. See there? Awesome.
Yep.
I actually have a use for these. I'm going to make a little deal. I'm doing some woodworking now, and I'm coming up with all sorts of little jigs, and these will be a good way to hold stuff together. I got a ton
But
of
yeah,
them over here.
they're worth it. And again, I mean, if you do have those old drives, it's interesting to see how they are made on the inside. And when you take them apart and take the magnets out, and then uh destroy the platters.
Look at there.
Wait.
Don't Don't forget to check your hair in a nice shiny platter while you've got it apart. Or
That's
for
a pretty
those,
good trick, Ariamnon. If they don't have those dimples in the way, just move it sideways with the pliers.
Oh,
I've done 3 now. Eileen says that's why they had to ban toys with magnets. I broke this one. In them because kids would swallow them and get injured. Well, if they swallowed one of these, you could just get a second one on a string and never lose them.
and pull it out.
a child restraint.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
broke this one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, the coating, whatever, comes off, and you can break that off in half and have 2 of them. But
I'd
then you
rather
have
just
to
destroy more hard
what?
drives. Oh, here's another one with a screw hole on it.
Mike is having fun. Fun with magnets. We're going to have a new segment. Fun with magnets.
Right after fun with flags.
Anyway, let's see. Oh, this is here is very, very interesting. A judge has ruled that copyright trolls need more than just an IP address if they want to go after copyright infringement. An IP is not enough proof to tie a person to a crime. It says, in a win for privacy advocates and pirates, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that an IP address alone is not enough to go after someone for alleged copyright infringement. They ruled that being the registered subscriber of an infringing IP address does not create a reasonable inference that
Inference.
the inference
Yeah.
inference that the subscriber is also the infringer. And you all remember in the early days of Wi-Fi how people used to go and park outside somewhere before we were so conscious about passwords. And what happens is they go and they download music, and it's not their IP address. They're gone. So it is a good thing. I mean, you got to have more. You have to have some kind of pattern, something else that proves that, yeah, that person did it. Not just because it's their IP.
It's going to stop a lot of trolling operations, certainly in the US, but I read somewhere, I think it was Norway, that had a similar rule, Danish,
Yeah.
I think, that had a similar rule that said an IP address is not enough. So they're slowly starting to realize that these trolls their time's very limited. And it's about time. It's been years like this. It's about time they started to pay attention to fact.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know who's at the IP address doing the stealing?
Right. That's the point.
I mean, you'll go after the bill payer. Well, it may not be the bill payer. You've got to define a person. You can't define it was that person. I mean, you say, well, I wasn't at home that day. I was away. So somebody else must have done it. Well, it's your responsibility to find out who. No,
You
it's
could do
not.
that civilly for the account holder, but criminally is a different matter.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
mean,
element of criminal is called mens rea, and that is you got to have the evil mind, and that is the account holder would have to be complicit in the crime.
I mean, this is what happened here. The creators of the film The Cobbler alleged that Thomas Gonzalez had illegally downloaded their movie and sued him for it. Gonzalez was a Comcast subscriber and had set up his network with an open Wi-Fi access point. At some point, someone had used his network to download the movie, And the film creators captured Gonzalez's IP address. The judge stated that in order for a proper case, the copyright owners would need more than just an IP address. I mean, they should have charged him with stupidity, but that's not what they were after.
Should have been painful enough to have to sit through the movie.
So yeah, it's a good decision by the court, and
Yeah,
I don't
time
think
too.
the what?
It's about time too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been proponents and privacy advocates and things like that have been talking about it and saying, look, this shouldn't be an event at all. And the people against the troll exercise have been saying it for years.
Yep. Absolutely.
Common sense has finally prevailed.
Do we have anybody that still has a Yahoo address? Come on, chat. Let's see. Anybody has a Yahoo address? Really? The this article is disturbing. The U.S. tech industry has largely declared it is off limits to scan emails for information to sell to advertisers. Yahoo still sees the practice as a potential gold mine. Yahoo's owner, the Oath, that's a new company, Oath unit of Verizon Communications, has been pitching a service to advertisers that analyzes more than 200 million Yahoo Mail inboxes and the rich user data they contain, searching for clues about what products those users might buy, and said that people who have attended Oath's presentations, as well as current and former employees of the company, they claim that that's what they're doing. Oath said the practice extends to AOL Mail, which it also owns. Together, they constitute the only major U.S. email provider that scans user inboxes for marketing purposes. I guess that's because that's the only way they can make money now. Because they're both failed companies.
They've certainly fallen out of favor, haven't they?
I mean, really, you know that they're, and I have some customers that have Yahoo email address that we forward email to, and I keep saying, guys, you need to change. A lot of people don't want to change because if you have a Yahoo address, you must have it for years and years and years. And you say, oh, but all my friends and family and blah, blah, blah have that email address. I can't just change. If you do have one of these, you don't have to turn on a dime. You go and you get a new email address somewhere, and Google or whatever. I always advocated that you need to get your own domain name and have a email address at your own domain. Yes, it costs a little bit more, but this way you'll never have to change your email address as long as you have that domain. But let's say that you don't want to do it. So you go and you get a Gmail account. And you write everybody on your Yahoo address, and you have all these people that sent you email. You tell them, I changed addresses. You don't cancel your Yahoo address, but you begin to use the Gmail, and you send people when you reply, you send it through Gmail. So now they have your new address. It may take a month, 2 months, 3 months, but you can see when the volume of legitimate mail through Yahoo is dropping to the point that, okay, it doesn't do any good. It's just spam is what I get. because people, most of the time, people just reply. And when they reply, they don't even know that they are sending it to Gmail unless they look there. But this way, you force people that are writing you to send it to your new email address while still receiving those from people that are uh, have it in their address book or lists that you get. And when you get to the point, you see, okay, yeah, I'm getting that list and it's coming to the Yahoo address. You need to log into the list and change your email address. And you need to do it for anything that is being sent automatically. You need to let your bank and your power company and whatever utilities know about it. And then when you see that really nothing is coming through, cancel it. But the sooner you'll start, the sooner you'll be able to cut your ties. At least, at least when you do it now and you get a new email address, you are not going to have new discussions on Yahoo. And that
Speaking of AOL mail,
a
you
what?
remember You've Got Mail?
Yeah, you got me.
I talked to the guy whose voice that was. He
Yeah,
actually recorded some things for me. I think I played them years ago here.
I remember. Yeah,
That was originally recorded on cassette. You've Got Mail was sent to AOL on cassette.
yeah. It's bad when they do that kind of stuff. I mean, it's disregard to privacy. Let's see what else we have here.
Did
Net-
you read that one? I've got one here if you haven't. I've
Yeah,
got
go
one.
ahead. Go ahead. No, absolutely.
Amazon pays employees to chirp happily on Twitter about wonderful working conditions.
Really?
Yeah. Did you not see this one? Oh, this is a good one. This came from
No.
Tech Dirt. For several years now, there have been a parade of articles examining the churn and burn culture at Amazon. For example, a 2015 New York Times piece profiled the bruising culture at the company, while noting that employees weeping at their desk was not an uncommon sight. And while the profile was contested by some employees at the company, a substantial number of different reports have also highlighted the poor working conditions in Amazon distribution warehouses, including employees having to pee in garbage pans for fear of missing targets by going to a proper restroom. Hoping to correct the public perception of poor working conditions at the company warehouses, Amazon executives have crafted a new solution to the problem. They started paying some warehouse employees to create Twitter accounts and speak positively of not only their working experience, but CEO Jeff Bezos under the tags of Amazon FC ambassadors. These employees are broadly encouraged to respond to any criticism of Amazon with positivity and apparently copious use of emojis as they proudly insist that they can pee at any time they like.
Hmm.
Isn't that thing? That's
Wow.
I mean, you'd understand customers, but their own staff, and then they're paying them to do that. Isn't
Yeah,
that a little? That's very strange.
very interesting.
Oh, there's one. Autobots transform and roll out. Actually, if Amazon did use bots to reply to social media, would be more entertaining than me. At the building I work at, I don't feel mistreated. My safety, well-being are a top priority for my managers. I even get to use a real bathroom when I want, said one of the tweets.
Versus what? What about the
Yeah.
rest of the people there? What do they use?
You got 57 people working here, and there's 2 people that are positive bots.
Oh boy. Well,
Well, actually, I went to put an Amazon review up. I ordered a nightlight, and I went to put an Amazon review up, and it said reviews for this product have been limited because of abuse. And I'm thinking, I bought this. I want to review it because it did what I thought it was going to do. It was compact. It was nice. It wasn't too bright. and they wouldn't let me put a review. I couldn't believe it.
Believe it. I went to put a review for something, and after I wrote it and everything, and you submit it, and it says, uh, "We cannot accept reviews from you because you abused the last review for this product." And I'm saying, "What? I abuse? You mean I'm writing two? This is the second one?"
They caught you, Amnon.
And I'm saying, "What in the world are you talking about?" But it's fine.
I mean, I know that there's a problem with reviews, and very often they'll say that the reviews are paid reviews and things. But well, goodness, I mean, it's a nightlight, for goodness sake. It's not like it's a $500,000 project. It's like $5.99.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when they do stuff like this. I mean, all it does is it hurts other customers because they don't get real uh, reviews from people that really have something to say. I mean, I had something bad to say about this. Can't even remember. I mean, it's been a few months, and I figured people need to know about this. And okay, you don't want it. Never mind. But talking about reviews, Netflix has removed all user reviews from its site, just like they said they would in early July. Here is what Netflix now has to say about posting reviews on its site. Netflix customers were able to leave reviews on Netflix.com until mid 2018, when reviews were removed due to declining use. To learn how Netflix suggests TV shows and movies we think you'll love, visit the rating and recommendation article. I guess they have a section like that. Netflix probably had reasons other than sections decline in use as well. For instance, it had to deal with issues like review bombing by trolls, hoping to bring down a show rating back when it used stars instead of the thumbs up down system. Netflix might have decided that reviews don't lead to enough views to warrant spending resources. So yeah, they may have this reason or that reason, but the fact is, you apparently you can't review uh movies on Netflix anymore.
Well, you'll have to go to
Now,
IMDb.
now did anybody really that uses Netflix sit and watch a movie just by reading reviews about it? Or you go in because you know what you want to watch?
They have persuaded me to look at a movie or a TV show before now, looking at the reviews of what people have written, and the
Oh,
same with purchase
okay.
as well. Sometimes I've looked at it and thought, shall I buy this? Shan't I buy it? And there's a couple of negative reviews, and then you read perhaps half a dozen good reviews, and it can,
Okay,
sway
so
one way or the other. It certainly does with me. But then perhaps I'm just gullible.
Well, the
Miss-
trick to a review is find someone who looks at it the way you do. That's
Yeah.
hard to do, though.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big Netflix user, and
Well, it depends. I mean, Netflix is just a service. Is
Yeah.
the content varies. There's some really good stuff on Netflix, and then there's some stuff that's horrendous, and people involved with this who are disgusting.
so there's going to be new iPhones. Apple has officially sent out invitation to its latest media event, Gather Round, which will be held on September 12th, 2018. That's like few days away. A year to the day after the iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 were officially revealed. So we'll see what they have to announce. And how good it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to
And
be wonderful.
okay, are you going?
No. No,
China's what? Go
whatever
ahead.
they're going to announce is going to be wonderful, isn't it? All the Apple fanboys will be jumping up and down with
Up and
joy.
down. Yeah. But here's the story of it's almost like, yeah, they learned something. China's regulators plan to curtail the number of online games and discourage playtime, part of a broader effort to tackle device addiction and other ills that sent shares reeling from the US to Japan. It says the curbs were just one aspect of a swath of edicts intended to address the health and growing incidence of myopia among children. I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, we do have a problem here in the States. But I don't think it's as big as people are saying. I mean, yeah, they're kids that just sit all day long in front of a computer, and that's all they do, and they don't have social life. Um, but I don't know that by curbing, unless you're going to put you're going to cut the internet to that house. Well, of course, they can play other games. I don't know how they're going to do it. They come on top of a months long freeze in game approvals. So I guess in China, the game has to be approved by the government before they put it out for sale. Well, they don't put stuff out for sale. They approve it and then they give it to the copy office to make copies of those CDs, right? The DVDs, because
Yeah, the
everything.
Chinese never pay for anything. It's always downloadable.
Yep. Further muddying the waters for an industry that labors under one of the world's most opaque regulatory regimes. While the new regulations encompassed everything from encouraging outdoor activities to usage of electronics, investors zeroed in on the game curbs during a highly sensitive time for the industry. The government hasn't given any explanation for a freeze on title approvals since March, prompting debate over whether it's a temporary halt due to regulatory reshuffling or whether Beijing is planning a crackdown in a wider campaign against online content. So it says that their inability to monetize its hottest game also casts doubt over the relationship between the world's largest game companies and the government. Um, it's I don't know that you need to go to that point, but I don't know if I had kids that were so addicted and I was such a bad parent that they would not listen to me. I guess I could say, yeah, look, the government's saying no, you can't do that, or something would happen. That something would happen. I don't know what it is, but it could be an interesting situation there. So it could be good, and hopefully it's because they learned from other countries around the globe that kids are just getting, what's the word? So,
Hooked.
huh?
Hooked.
Hooked and I mean, if you don't develop your social skills, then you're not going to be a contributing member of society
Not if your
in
nose
most
is
in most cases.
buried.
You're saying?
If your nose is buried in a phone screen and you aren't looking up to see what's going on around you, then
Yeah.
you're just not interested in society. So how can you be a member of it?
Right. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with this plan to do that.
Hmm.
Amnon,
Yes.
do you remember me asking? This is inside baseball stuff, but do you remember me asking you about an Allen wrench to be able to remove
Yeah.
this micro tiny set screw on that microphone in front of you?
Right.
And we finally found one.
Yeah.
That was taped to my lamp at my old house so I wouldn't lose it because it's the size of a hypodermic needle.
Yeah. I think I still have one.
I found it.
Oh,
You talk Look at this crap behind me. You talk about finding a needle in a haystack.
yeah.
Wow.
Look at this. I mean, this is a .025 Allen wrench.
Yep. But I don't know where I got those, but I think I do have another one.
Well, hold on to it.
Tape it to a lamp.
Well, then I'll lose the lamp. My wife will come in. I don't like that lamp. Boom, gone. Goodwill. Yeah, but
You
what
mean
about the
you
Allen
mean
wrench?
are you telling me you don't have a little drawer with Allen wrenches?
Amnon, have you been to my house?
Mike, no, yes, I have, but I don't. This was the first 2 weeks. I don't know, but go on Amazon
No,
and buy yourself 2 of those plastic bin.
no.
No,
It's all got to be part of a bigger system.
no, but I mean it's ridiculous to build anything that has such little bitty drawers.
Amnon,
It's much more economical. Makes more sense to buy 1 or 2 of these and hang them on the wall somewhere and just put little parts in them.
all right. Next time I ask you, they're in this grab bag.
Yeah. And where's the bag
It's
gonna be?
right here on my desk because when I get little screws and things, I throw them in there
Okay.
because that's kind of where I go to. But golly, of course I'm actually lucky. I haven't, knock on wood, during the move. I really haven't lost very much. I just can't find it. But lately, the thing I've lost lately is a friend of mine loaned me a microphone preamp. I used it temporarily at the radio station, and I used it temporarily over at a guy who does a show for the radio station. Now I can't find it,
Hmm.
and that thing's $500.
Oh, but it's there. It's
I
just a
keep
matter.
hoping it's here. I thought it was sitting right here in front of me, but it's not.
Nah, you wouldn't have thrown it away. I know that for
I
a
have made
fact.
progress. I've quit worrying about it. It'll turn up, or if it doesn't, I'll deal with
Yep.
it.
But you see, you take the stuff and you put it in that bag. On my bench, I have an old ashtray, square ashtray. And I throw stuff in there when I take it out and I know I don't need it, or I take something apart. There's a bunch of screws and I say, yeah, one of these days I'm going to need them. And I put them there. And then when things are getting full in that ashtray, I'll take it and I'll start sorting it and put it in different drawers, and those little tiny drawers that already have all that kind of stuff in them. And I always say, why can't I do this right away? Why throw it in here and then move it? I don't know why, but at least it ends up at the right place.
You'll be amazed at how often I've thrown things in that little bag just to say, well, I know I had the screws that came with this thing,
Yeah.
and find them in there.
Well,
I bought these VU meters. This has been, talk about a project. These are the old analog VU meters that I'm getting.
Right.
In fact, I'm probably going to put one together for you eventually, Amnon. But the idea is that when you look at these, this meter will jump and tell you how
Yeah.
loud your audio is. The VU meters that come on current
Right.
audio equipment are terrible. These are the good ones. And these things are I found one of these for sale. You can buy them cheaper if you know where to buy them, but I found one of these for sale in the UK for 169 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
You
They're
mean just the raw part?
Yep.
Sheesh.
And they have a bezel that they mount with it. The bezel mounts in the cutout, and then this is held up to the bezel. It's
Mhm.
really a crappy way of doing it. And when I
Wow.
decided to proceed on this project, I got the meters and I couldn't find the bezels. I contacted the guy I bought them from. He said, "Well, if I had them, I sent them to you." So I said, "To heck with it." It wasn't 3 days later. I was going through a box on the floor looking for some stuff for Nick, and I found two bezels in there and checked them out. And it's the one for these, and how they got out of the shipping box, which is sitting over on one side of the room, and into a separate box. I don't have any idea. But what's
Yeah.
interesting is the way these meters are lighted. When you look at it and you see that they're lighted, it's back in the old days. They use this. If you've ever seen this, this is called a festoon, Festoon, festoon bulb, incandescent bulb. I mean, this meter's 30 years old. And in this bulb, it's just a 12-volt bulb, like in the dome light of your car.
Mhm.
And what happens is that everything around it is blocked, and this just shines 360 degrees. It lights up the face of the meter and does a really good, surprisingly good job. And when I decided to try to figure out how to drill a square hole so I can mount these bezels in there, I finally found some material I could use and all that. Well, the bulb was burned out.
Mm.
Well, I started looking for a bulb. Well, what kind of bulb is it? They've got about 15 different versions of this one, with it sticking out, with it narrow, with it long, short, and all that. Finally, I took a flying leap at it. I got an LED version, which won't be as hot, and I find out that I wanted it to be as skinny as possible so that it doesn't stick out and limit how thick
Right.
the bezel can be. Found these on eBay, on Amazon for they're 36 millimeters long, 9 millimeters in circumference, and I got it in yesterday, plugged it in, powered it up, and it's absolutely perfect. It's narrower than the one that was in it that was burned out, so
Hmm.
it's fun. It'll be fun. Hopefully it'll work out.
So if there are any consoles anywhere that somebody's throwing away and they have those gauges in them,
Get them.
okay.
Look over my shoulder. You
Yeah.
see the
Yeah.
you see right here?
Mhm.
Let me see if I can get there.
Yeah.
That thing's gonna be disassembled, and I'm keeping the meters. The meters in
Jeez.
it are almost identical. In fact, they're made by the same company that make this one, but they're almost identical to this, size-wise.
That's amazing. I wonder if you can use the meters that are in CB radios that show you the
No,
modulation.
no, they're cheap. I mean, you could use them, but they're too cheap. You can still buy analog VU meters because they have a disadvantage.
Yeah, but 120 pounds?
169 pounds.
How does it? Geez.
That's like $200. And, but they have a disadvantage with digital electronics in that the LED meters will show the actual peak signal. So,
Mhm.
because if you hit 100% digital full scale with a digital signal, it distorts. With analog, on the old days, you had a lot of headroom in there that you could hit 100% and it still had room to go. It takes a little correlation. So what we'll have to do is calibrate them so that zero is, plus three is really a zero, so that, yeah, oh yeah, that's good level. You look on the computer, it doesn't look like it's recording as loudly, but it will be sufficient.
Yeah, I'm finding out that those American audio ones, the strips, the rack mounted strips that I have on top of the
Mm-hmm.
they are They're good. They're good for indication.
They're $50 a piece.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody will be here and they suddenly speak a little software and there's nothing showing on it.
Yep.
I'll put my headphones on and it sounds fine.
Yeah, but you can't go by that. You got to go by the meter.
Well, I mean, the meter on the uh, mixer still works, but
I'm
the
just telling you, you got something else set wrong.
all right, I don't know.
You got to rely on the meter. It's just like being an instrument pilot in an airplane. You may think you're going straight up, but you got to go by what the instruments say. If not, your life expectancy is less than 4 minutes.
Okay. Maybe I'll just take it out. I don't want to think that this is limiting my life. Or it's going to kill me. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. As you can tell, we're running out of things to talk about. Call in.
Well, we can end early, Amnon. It
I
is
know
a
we can.
holiday
I know,
weekend.
and it seems like that's what we're going to do. But I've got one more thing here that I want to talk about. Amazon is making an even bigger play for the television advertising market with a planned launch of an ad-supported video service specifically for Fire TV device owners. It says the service, which could be called Free Dive, is said to be very close in concept to the Roku channel, an ad-supported free video service for Roku streaming devices and smart TVs that's helped the device maker grow its platform business. These services tend to offer a random mix of older catalog content, but they're free to stream. The information estimates Amazon has around 48 million customers who own a Fire TV device, either in the form of an HDMI stick, a more powerful 4K equipped HDMI dongle, and the new Alexa enabled Fire Cube. So they're going to go into some kind of a streaming thing, which is it's not bad. It's fine. And with that, I'm fresh out of stories.
Me too.
All right.
Steve, sing a song for us, maybe.
That was the news this week, was it?
What was?
That was what we did.
Oh. Okay. So if nobody is have the old ads with them. Oh, really? Alan is saying that a lot of the old shows on Roku channel have the old ads with them. That would be interesting by itself to watch old commercials. It's okay, Alan. He's going to be, Gal is going to be here next week. As far as I know. As far as I know.
Next week.
Do what?
Write it down, save it till next week.
Yeah. Yeah, write it down. Don't forget it. So, all right. Well, we can, like you said, we can end the show a little early if there's nothing else to talk about. All right. So thanks, Mike. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
It was fun. And everybody have a safe Labor Day. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, update your virus scanner, back up your hard drive. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook, follow our YouTube channel, etc., etc. I don't think Nick is going to do a live show tonight against the norm, but he may have a recorded one that you did not hear earlier. So see what's on Big Talker 106.7 in Wilmington or on TuneIn. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.